Each person in their own head hears a speaker, and then there's a listener. What we don't understand is that the speaker, who's creating all the noise, right, who's asking all the questions, who's busy, the main part of the dialogue of our mind is what I call the speaker. And that speaker is the ego. There's nothing wrong with the ego, it's who we are. The listener part of us, though, we imagine that it's us. Now try to follow this. The voice in our heads that is the listener is the God voice. But that God voice sits so close to us, closer than hands and feet. And that voice of God within our heads has chosen, by sleight of hand, for its own good reasons, to speak as us. It's like a dance. But the voice of God is right there in our minds on a daily basis, every single second of the day, counseling the ego, listening to what the ego is saying about what it wants to do and its desires and all of these other things. But it has walking with it, side by side, every minute, this other voice that we mistake as being the voice of the self, when it's in fact the voice of God. Now the mystic, what he tries to do is he understands what I'm talking about, and that God is not remote, God is not far away, and God is not superior or higher. God is speaking with you every minute of every second of every day. God is speaking with you every minute of every second of every day. But he does it in a way that doesn't draw attention to himself. Because God is not working on the level of hierarchy. He's not trying to be the big boss. That's some shit we've inherited from the world and all these liars. So the spark is really a voice, an oracular voice, that if we learn to listen to it, more correctly, if we turn down our racket, the ego racket, this is like the kid smashing his toys around, if we try to turn that voice down a little bit, then the voice of God increases, the guidance increases, but it starts very simply. So what these priests and all have done, have inserted themselves as the guides. So you now turn outward to these people. To listen to any other guidance than the guidance of one's own guardian angel is a slap in the face of that force. And we slap that force every single moment that we turn to these priests and their rotten churches and their black robes. And so the human race is never going to be free, because all we've done down through the centuries is replace one tyranny with another. The mystic walks alone because he knows he's not alone. No matter what we do, that voice remains. This is the most incredible thing. The voice of the imperial self is the voice of God. So the only meditation that one needs to do is to realize that the speaker within you is you. That's the ego part of you. And it's the one that wants to investigate the world and is, it's on its own little adventures and learnings and all of the rest of it. But it has within it the voice of God, the only God that exists. And it's only a matter of you having the requisite reverence. It's a working dialogue between two friends. One has to enter into that state. You now have a totally different reverence with that other voice in your head that's been guiding you all along. So we have to be aware that, how to decode that and realize that, look, mate, I'm really glad to hear that God's speaking to you. Well, he's speaking to me too, so I really don't need to listen to what you have to say because he's speaking to me. You okay with that?